Namaskar, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Uh, those who are regular visitors over here know that I have two interests or passions. Um, One is astrology, jyotish. I am an astrologer, professional astrologer. But the other lifelong passion for me has been studying history. And today I have something interesting to present to you because what I really enjoy is the cross section of astrology and history, and that happens quite a lot. Okay, because there are so many historical events, people, etc., which you can come across and analyze, and I do that quite a lot. And in the process, I have interesting stories to share. And today happens to be something like that, and I believe it's a very interesting story I can share with you. So please be clued on. Uh, this happened sort of serendipitously. I mean, just out of the blue. I was yesterday, organizing some of my documents and nothing related to history, in fact. But there happened to be one document in my downloads folder which was a uh, historical book, and I just happened to open it, and that was related to Chhatrapati Shivaji. And I just scroll down randomly, not even thinking about anything, and I come across a section which is related to his coronation, and it gives the exact time according to that text when he was coronated. So that was very interesting for me. And but you know what, my approach, after, especially with my interest in history, is I want exact times. And typically in history you have primary sources and secondary sources. Okay. By the way, those who think that this entire presentation is about history, no. At the end, I will come to the Jyotish part of it. Please bear with me. But the story behind it is too interesting to tell. And in history, the thing is about the joy is in uncovering the research of it. It's like a detective work, and I'm actually going to tell you the steps through which I did this detective work. So in history, you have two kinds of sources: primary sources and the secondary sources. Primary sources were that which were written describing an event, and these are typically contemporary or near contemporary texts, which are considered to be reliable, or whatever best you can get for that period, right? Secondary texts are those which use this and sort of summarize or talk of a lot of other events, etc., etc. So they are quoting the primary. So many a times what happens is between the primary to secondary, there is a lot of corruption. It's somewhat like a Chinese whisper. So I always prefer to know what is the primary text. So this was from a book, a compilation known as Shivaji Souvenir. If you search in Google, you should be able to find it. It's a PDF freely available. In that, there was a reproduction of what is known as the Jede chronology or the Jede Shakhavali. This is one of the most near contemporary uh, primary sources for the life events of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and in fact, a little after that as well. This is the texts or the records maintained by the Jede family, who were quite closely associated with Shahjiraje as well as Shivajiraje, both, and with his descendants as well. So they have maintained this succinct notes, which year, which month, what happened. Okay. So there was a translation, it was ascribed to Jadunath Sarkar, the very famous historian. Um, so me being me, I wanted to know, okay, where did Jadunath Sarkar get it from? And then I came to know that this is from the text known as Sources of Maratha History, which was again a compilation done by uh, Mr. Patwardhan and H.G. Rawlinson, and this is, I think, way back in late 19th century or early 20th century. Uh, so this had the text, and there was in fact a slight difference between what was mentioned in the translation given by Jadunath Sarkar, mm, though it is actually not translated by Jadunath Sarkar, and the one which was given by um, H.G. Rawlinson and P. Patwardhan. I will show you that. So this is called the source book of history, and this is the exact text. You can see it is mentioned over here 1596 Anand. 1596 is the Shaka era, right? The Shaka era started in 78 AD. So if you want to know the Gregorian date or the the Christian date, you need to add 78 to this. So which is roughly 1674. The Hindu Samvatsara name is mentioned, Anand, and in that the specific time is mentioned. And now here you find that it is said over here Shivaji was invested with sacred threads. This was on 29th May 1674, and on Jyeshta Shuddha 6, no, so not this one, Jyeshta Shuddha 12. Shuddha means Shukla Paksha, Friday, and this is the exact time being given. Ghati 21, that is 21 Ghatis, Pal 34, and Vipal 38 to 40. And I'm not sure what SC42 means. I really don't know about this. If someone knows, they can please share it. And then this is uh, in the night time. So this is like from the previous sunset, how many ghatis, pulse, and vipals have passed. That is what is being mentioned over here. And when three ghatis of the night remained, it is also so. It is also saying sunrise, from the sunrise which is going to come, how many, how much time before. So around three ghatis, which is roughly 72 minutes. Okay, in fact, exactly 72 minutes. So three ghatis of night remained. That is when approximately 72 minutes remained. That's when Shivaji Raje Bhosle ascended the throne, and it also gives the what you call Islamic year, which is 10 Rabiul Awal. Rabiul Awal is Rabiul Awal. Actually, it is Rabiul Awal, which is I think the third or fourth month. I forget which month in the Islamic calendar. 1084. 1084 is the Islamic year. So it is giving the Islamic year as well. I will not get into the Islamic year. I mean, I cross checked that as well for your information. It's in fact coming, 1084 is actually coming to 1673, 1 year before, which is, we don't have to confuse. It is quite clear that the coronation year is not under question. 1674, no one questions that. Now the point is Jyeshta Shuddha 12, and now this is being translated as, it's not mentioned here, is it? uh, it should be mentioned somewhere over here, because in the text given, the other text which I mentioned, it was said that this is 6th June. Okay, 6th June 1674 is considered as the coronation date, and even now recently some 250th year passed by of Chhatrapati's ascending the throne, and it was celebrated, if I'm not wrong, on 6th June. If you just put it on Google, Shivaji coronation date. Okay, it's mentioning 6th June 1674. And I did not actually check this, but this is the Wikipedia article on Chhatrapati Shivaji, and in this it mentions um, on 6th June, you can see over here, on 6th June, Shivaji was crowned the king. Okay, so all of this mentions the 6th June. Now the point is this: I am an astrologer. I have software. Many people have this today, right? And you just put, okay. So what we'll do this thing. I'll put 6th June over here. Now you can see over here the tithi. The tithi is Shukla Paksha Dvitiya, and the vara is Tuesday. But what was given over here? Let's go back. It is given over here Friday, Shukla 12, that is Shukla Dvadashi. So we are almost talking of a 10-day difference. Now, whenever this 10-day difference comes, in Hindi they say दिमाग की घंटी बजनी चाहिए. Something should ring inside your head. This is basically, the problem is the confusion between Julian era and Gregorian era. Now, for those who don't know what Julian and Gregorian is, it's important to know for older dates. You will face this problem time and time again. Okay. One day, I believe in the year 1582, Pope Gregory, the Pope of Christianity, Roman Catholics, he decided, And rightly so. He was quite right in that the seasons are not matching with the months or whatever they were saying. The seasons are not matching, so the dates are off. Okay, and the previously almost 1,000 years back, all these calendars had been set. It was called the Julian era. It was coming from the Roman emperor's time. So Pope Gregory said this has gone off. So he decided 10 days have to be added to this. Okay, so from that day, 10 days were added. Now, this created massive confusion. It's like today, let's say, we have addresses, and sometimes the municipality will change the plot numbers or flat numbers, etc. Let's say, and all of a sudden you have to maintain an old address and a new address. It's somewhat like that. Okay, and by the 1500s or 1600s, the difference between the Julian era and the what is called Gregorian era after Pope Gregory is almost 10 days of difference. Okay, so what is this 6th June is actually the Julian era. Okay, but no one mentions this. No one mentions this. No one mentions this is 6th June Julian era. No one mentions this. Maybe somewhere obscurely or somewhere Wikipedia will say older dates, please consider Julian era. But who knows? Sometimes they may mention Gregorian era, because after 1580 or 82, whatever, when Pope Gregory instituted this, there were many people who were maintaining the newer dates. Okay, and in fact, I will show to you a exact source which mentions both these dates as well. Okay, rather I'll show it to you right away. Okay, um, yeah, here it is. Can you see this text now? Before I come to this text, so when I find this, I was like, yes, I should tell you the steps I followed. So I didn't go to Wiki. I in fact looked at Wiki at the very end to see what is Wiki saying. Okay, because especially with these kind of dates, and Wikipedia generally quotes secondary sources, very rarely, if ever, primary sources. So I do my own research. So when this happened, then what I did is there's one book on Shivaji Maharaj which I have studied quite extensively, which is by Mr. Mehendale. Okay, I think it's called Life and Times of Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji, and I went to that. And in that, again, he also mentions the same thing, 6 June 1674. But he mentions the sources from which the coronation of Shivaji Maharaj has been mentioned. What are the sources of information? And there are several sources. What is fantastic about Shivaji Maharaj and his time is, by this time, you had one is, in case of Shivaji Maharaj, you have lot of Maratha sources. There are a lot of Bakhars, Sabasad, then Jede chronology, and so on. There are a lot of Maratha sources. Then there are Islamic sources also, like of the Mughals, of the Adil Shahs. There is I think, who is it? Mm, Firishta. Firishta, I think it's called Basatinus Salatin or something like that. Then Khafi Khan, the Mughal chronicler, he has also written. Uh, and you may also find, I think, in Aurangzeb's chronicles. I forgot the name of it. There are his chronicling and all that. But apart from that, you also had the European chroniclers. Okay, be it the Portuguese or the Dutch or the English. And in this case, the Dutch and the Englishmen, they were invited. They were present for the coronation, and the coronation was a very very long process. It spanned over many days. Now, a certain point of that day procedure was considered for the specific coronation. That is the I'll tell you the exact process, what exact step it was. But there were lots and lots of pujas spanning over almost 20, 30 days or so. Okay. Now, in the sources which Mehendeleji mentioned, there was one very interesting one. It was Shiva Rajyabhisheka Prayoga. That was the name of that text. What is this text? So, when Shivaji Maharaj was coronated, he was coronated with, see, one is there was no precedent of that in Maharashtra. In Maharashtra, no Hindu king had been coronated for the last 300 years before Shivaji Maharaj. Okay. So, and there were a lot of aspects, because who is coronated? A Kshatriya is coronated. So, Shivaji Maharaj had to be declared as a Kshatriya beyond anyone's doubt, beyond anyone's question. Okay. And the one key person who managed to do this is Gaga Bhatt, or I believe his actual name was Vishweshwar Bhatt. He was known as Gaga Bhatt very famously. He was a Pandit from Banaras, but he had his ancient roots from Maharashtra, from Paitan. So he was invited, and he was the one who wrote the exact long description, and it runs into pages. Okay, and it is given in this particular text. And in that detailed procedure was given each and every day what will be done. Okay, there were initial things like he had to go and pay obeisance to their family temples of Bhavani and of Lord Shiva, etc. Then he had to, be invested with the sacred thread. Then lot of purificatory rituals had to be done. He had to be married in Vedic custom again. And then after there's Tuladan to be done, and after all of this was a coronation. So details of all these procedures are mentioned in that. So in that every day is mentioned. So the actual coronation is when he ascended the throne. Okay, and that process is called Simhasana Arohana. Simhasana Arohana meaning ascending the Simhasana. Okay, so that is the text. Thankfully to Mr. Mahindale mentioning that, I was able to, and I tried to search for it. I was able to find it in archive.org, and in that um, text. So this was edited by a Mr. Bendre, and he gave very detailed notes. He had practically, because I don't really understand Sanskrit that very well. So fortunately, the detailed English, if not literal translation, very, very good translation of that has been given by him in this. Okay. And he also gives the background of it, and he also combines the Dutch and the English chronicles as well. So now in page 51, this is a 139 page document. Okay, so you need to have patience to go through this. So here it mentions the Dutch factor. So basically, from the Dutch factory from Vengurlas, uh, uh, the person representative over there, he writes a letter to his governor giving all the details. So he says 15th of June, new style. That is 5th June, old style. See, now here you get the exact. What is new style? New style is a Gregorian date. And what is old style? Old style is the Julian era date. Okay. So all the fitting ceremonial having been accomplished, so all the preparatory things having been done, he washed his body with the water from the Ganges, which has been brought for the purpose, and lot of charity, a lot of donations was done to Brahmins, dana and all that was done of several amounts. Then on the 16th, that is 6th old style of June. So 16th June new style, which is Gregorian, and 6th June old style. He seated himself on the new throne. This was the Muhurta, which has been made ready and was invested by the assembly with the name Shivaji. It appears now this is the end of the quotation from the Dutch person. Now Mr. Bendre mentions it appears that both the Rajyabhisheka and Simhasana Arohana ceremonies were performed well before the dawn on the 6th of June. Again, he's writing 6th of June over here, which is the Julian date. But you can't, I believe this was written probably 100 years back or so. So in those days, I don't know why, even 100 years back, why people were quoting still the Julian dates. Okay. Now the Shakavalis. You remember this particular what is it translation over? This is the English translation. Now the exact Marathi of that is mentioned over here. It says this is what was mentioned in the Shakavalis. There is Jede Shakavali and there are other Shakavalis also. Jyeshta Shuddha Bara. Now here is where they go wrong because it's not Bara. I will show that to you why. Okay. Jyeshta Shuddha Bara, that is 12. Shukravara. Okay. Ghati 21, that is 21, Pale 34, and Vipala 38 to 40, C 42. Teen Ghatika Rathar Urli meaning left. There was 3 Ghatikas of the night remaining. Tevha at that time, Rajashri Shivajiraje Bhosle, Simhasani Baisle, he sat on the throne. And then it gives the Islamic 10 Rabiul Awal Su Khamsen Saben Alaf. This Su Khamsen Saben Alaf means 1084. Okay. Anyway, we need not bother about this. So this is the exact thing which was mentioned over here. Now the problem is that when you go date by date, it is mentioning all the detailed this thing. It says quite clearly over here. Thus, the main Rajyabhisheka ceremony was performed on the 13th day of the bright half of Jyeshtha Masa, Shaka 1596 Anand Samvatsar. So it is not on the 12th night, it is on the 13th. And that matches pretty well. And with that, we have this um, thing, 16 June 1674. Now I'll come to the next part. We have now at least arrived at the right date. Now the other challenge is for a Muhurta to know the right time. I need to figure out the time also. And there also there was a bit of a googly sort of thing which I had to figure out. Okay. But 16 June 1674, you can see over here it is Friday, Shukla Trayodashi. Okay, the nakshatra happens to be Anuradha, etc. Okay, it's quite clear. So this is, see, in Vedic this thing we consider a vara a weekday from sunrise to sunrise. So from English period this is actually Saturday. The day is actually from, for the Englishmen it is Saturday, because the Saturday started at midnight itself, because this is at 4 a.m. Okay, but for us it is Friday, and after sunrise it will become Saturday. So before sunrise it's still Friday. Okay, which is Shukravara. Okay, so we figured out the date. And if anyone wants to know, there are day by day mention over here. It's a very long document. So in fact, his on 29th May as per them, but it is not 29th May. It is, I think, 7th or 8th June when he was first invested with the sacred thread. Because only after investing of the sacred thread or the Janu is are you ready to do all the other uh, Vedic rituals. Then only you can be a Yajaman for all the Vedic rituals. Okay. So, so when you see date by date, it's quite clear that it's on the 13th of month, and very great details are mentioned. Okay. Now, one reason why the Shakhavalis would have been confused is, one second, I'll show you why they got confused. See here, day by day, what happened on each day. But this 31st May, 1st June, 2nd June, all these are Julian dates, mind you. Okay. Because this won't match. If you consider this as Gregorian date, Jyeshtha 7 will not be this then. Okay. You can see that for yourself. So here what happened is, you can see over 5th June Friday Jyeshtha Shuddha 12 up to 22 Gatikas 35 Palas. So up to this one process called as Aindriya Shanti was done. Okay. Uh, this was the completion of a very important thing. Okay. Um, so maybe they got confused that this was the day. That's why maybe they mentioned Shuddha 12 or Dwadashi when it was actually Shuddha Trayodashi. Okay. In the evening began the principle. So in the evening of Thursday, or sorry, in the evening of Friday, uh, this process of Maharajyabhisheka began. It was a long process where he was anointed with lot of things. Then lot of Abhisheka was done on them. Then he gave lot of donations and all that. And then he was ready in the early hours of dawn for the Rajabhisheka, or specifically the Simhasana Arohana, that is ascending the throne. Okay. Now, the other thing is, it was mentioned, there are two things mentioned over here regarding the time. Okay. Uh, I mean, I have not gone in detail through the entire Sanskrit text. I tried to see through it briefly, because one is the lack of understanding fully of Sanskrit. So I tried to find whether any mention Gaga has done of the exact time. I'm sure he should have mentioned it somewhere. So anyone who knows Sanskrit, please go through this text, and I'll be very curious to know if anywhere he mentions the exact time himself, because he would have chosen a specific time and he would have mentioned it in the text, most probably. Okay. But not having that, I rely on um, this Marathi line over here, right? Which says that 3 Gatikas of night were remaining. And then it also gives some Gatikas, 21 Pal, 34, 21 Ghatis, 34 Pal, and 38 to 40 Vipal. Okay. So, but anyone who knows a little bit of Jyotish and all that can straightway see that there is a discrepancy here. What is the discrepancy? See, on an average, a night and a day, if they are equal, how many ghatikas are there in an entire day and night? 60 ghatikas are there. Each ghatika is 24 minutes long. Okay. Two and a half ghatikas is equal to what we call 1 hour. Okay. Now, uh, if day and night are equal, then they should each have around 30 ghatikas each, right? Now, at what happens is, at times the day is longer, night is shorter, that is there. But still, by how much, right? And we are talking of the tropics here. I mean, maximum it will be like, say, 26 hours day, or 34 hours night, or similar, or 25 hours day, 35 hours night, or 25 hours night and 35 hours day, something like that. It will not be 20 hours day and 30 hours, 40 hours night, like it may happen in the higher latitudes. Okay. So anyhow, I have the exact what you call sunrise and sunset times. So I mean, here's a bit of Excel work which I have done to figure out, if I take from the sunset time to the next sunrise, how much ghatis was it? Okay, and it turns out to be 26. Please see this particular line over here at the end. Let me maybe scroll it a bit above this one. Okay, so the we are close to 21st of June, which is the maximum of a daytime kind of thing, right? So the day will be longer and the night will be shorter. So the night is not going to be 30 ghatikas, it should be lesser than that. How long is it? It is 10 hour 46 minutes 56 seconds, which is around 26 ghatikas, 56 palas, and 59.9 vipalas. Okay. Now, if they are saying three ghatikas of the night were remaining, basically you have to remove three ghatikas from this. Okay. So if I take that, then actually speaking, it is 23 ghatis, 24, sorry, 56 palas and 59.9 vipalas. What was mentioned by the chroniclers, Jedek Shakhavali, etc., 21 ghatikas. So there's a clear 2 ghatika difference. This is too big a difference. We are talking of like 48 to 50 minutes difference, which is too much. In fact, more than that, because there's also vipalas difference and all that. So we're talking of like 50-55 minutes difference, which is not possible. Okay. uh, if they are saying three gatikas, you can be plus minus, there can be a little bit more difference, not this much. Okay. So if I were to take exactly this, 23 ghatikas, 56 and 59.9, and if I were to add that to the sunset after this, what we get is 4:11 a.m. Okay. Uh, is it correct? 40, 18, 36, 46, 9, 34, 48, 34. Let me just see my formulas. Is it linked to this? Yeah, it's linking to this. Yeah. Okay. So basically, I have to add 9 hours, 34 minutes, and 48 seconds to the sunset, previous day sunset. And that adds up to 4:11 a.m. in the morning. If I were to take exactly what the chroniclers had said, then it would be 3:14 a.m. in the morning. Okay. And that is like more than 5 ghatikas, not 3 ghatikas. Okay. I'm sure they would not go that much off. And there's a reason why. By the way, let me tell you, this is not going to change the Lagna either ways. I will show that to you. All right. But there is the important meaning of it. When you we have something called Brahma Muhurta, which is considered to be very auspicious. The Brahma Muhurta starts 96 minutes before the sunrise. and it ends at 48 minutes before sunrise. So 48 minutes, 96 minutes to 48 minutes before sunrise is when you have the Brahma Muhurta. And in that, this timeline fits very well. This is approximately 84 minutes before sunrise. This is much before that. Okay, almost 1 hour more. So 144 minutes. It is too much. So it is most likely that this is the time, because many people like to choose a Brahma Muhurta because it's supposed to remove many doshas. Okay. And there's also a matter of the Lagna, but as I said, Lagna remains the same. So anyhow, so I have taken it as 4:11 a.m., right? And this is the time I get. So at 3:05 a.m., in fact, I'll rather now change to something more easier for everyone. Um, yeah. So here I have all the different types of charts. Um, yeah. So um, this is at 4:11 a.m. on the 16th of June 1674. You can see it is Friday, the Shukla Trayodashi, as mentioned in the texts. Now, this Lagna is of um, Vrishabha or Taurus, right? And I will also show you why this is right in another way. Gaga Bhatt mentions uh, certain astrological rules for choosing the right Rajyabhisheka Muhurta. Okay. And this fits that. I will come to that in a while. So this is Taurus Lagna, and whether it is 3:11 or whatever, or 4:11, either ways, it is still going to be Taurus, but the Navamsha, etc., will change. Okay. But we are going to analyze the Rashi chart over here and understand how good this is. But before that, let me show you also what Gaga Bhatt mentioned. So then we can straight away just limit ourselves to the um, this charts. So yeah, here it is. Um, yeah. So this is certain rules that he gave, and he mentions the source of this. Okay. This is from Vishnu Dharmottara text. Okay, and this has been given by Himadri Pant, who was one of the ministers during the time of the Yadava dynasty, more than 3 centuries before Shivaji Maharaj. Okay, um, which was eventually destroyed by the Muslims, the Islamic, the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so Himadri Pant, in his book called Chaturvarga Chintamani, which is a very big text on various Dharma Shastras, etc., gives the details related to Rajyabhisheka. Okay, and so here it says Ata Sambhrit Sambharo Raja Sambasarastata, and so on and so forth. It tells about what all should be there astrologically in case of a Rajyabhisheka Muhurta. Okay, so it says Na cha bhauma dine Rama chaturthyam cha tataiva cha navamyam na abhishektavya chaturdashyam cha bhargava. So it says bhauma dine na cha. So don't on Tuesday, bhauma dine, or nor on Chaturthi, nor on Navami, nor on Chaturdashi. So in fact, in between these, the long period when the various rituals were done, there was a Navami, because we are talking of Trayodashi, just 3-4 days before that, Navami had occurred, and they did not do any rituals on that day. Okay. And then he says, Dhruvani Vaishnavam Shakram Hasta Pushyo Tathaivacha Nakshatrani Prashasyante Bhumipala Bhishechane. Dhruvani meaning Dhruva Nakshatras, which is the three Uttaras, Uttarashada, Uttara Bhadrapada, and Uttara Falguni, and Rohini. Then Vaishnava I believe would be Shravana. Then Shakram, which is Jeshtha, and Hasta and Pushya. These nakshatras prashasyante is praised, praiseworthy, okay, for Bhumipala Vishechane. Okay. And then it says नाग चतुष्पदम विष्टिम किम स्तुग्नम शकुनिम तथा करणानि न शंस्यते व्यतिपाद दिनम तथा. So these are the karanas. Naga, Chatuspada, Vishti, Kim, Stugna, Shakuni. These karanas should not be there in a, and also Vyatipada. Vyatipada is the yoga, that is the Panchanga yoga. Okay, so this should not be there in a Muhurta of Abhisheka. And Nakshatram, Ulka, Abhihatam, and these are the various ways a nakshatra can be afflicted. Ulka, Abhihatam, Utpata, and all these things. Okay. And then there should not be Soma, Surya, Kuja, Krantam. Krantam meaning crossing over, so they are in the sandhi between signs. Okay. So Soma meaning moon, sun, and Kuja, which is Mars. Quite interesting why Mars is being mentioned. Because you see, Mars rules the first house, which is Aries, which is considered as a royal sign. Okay. And it also is exalts in the 10th house, which is the throne, right? The high mid heaven, what they say. So Mars is very important for kings, and kings have to be, they have to rule, they have to show their power, and they have to fight wars, etc. Right? Now is the key, and Kujahora Tatha Anishtha. Okay, so Kujahora, it should not be on a Kujahora. Okay, Sarvatra Kulikastata. Now here he is giving the lagnas. Vrisha atha kita simho cha kumbho lagnascha shasyate, meaning it is recommended or praised to have these lagnas, which the fixed lagnas. All these are the fixed signs. Vrishabha, Taurus, Kita is Scorpio, Vrishchika, Simha is Leo, and Kumbha is Aquarius. So these lagnas are praiseworthy. Okay, and then it says etesham janma lagna bhyam sya upachaya sthita. So these amongst these, select that which is upachaya to the lagna. Which lagna? To the janma lagna. Okay. Now here I am also going to tell you how this confirms what I have earlier presented. By the way, I have earlier presented in this very channel, and I've also published this, the exact birth time and the horoscope of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, which according to me, apart from myself, I've never seen it anywhere else. Okay. And that gives the lagna over there is Simha lagna. Okay. And here the Vrishabha lagna is in 10th house from there, which is Upachaya. So Vrishabha lagna is not just one of the recommended lagnas for Abhisheka, it is also the Upachaya from the Janma lagna of Shivaji Maharaj. Right? If you see the other lagnas, see it, be it Leo itself, Scorpio, or Aquarius, are not Upachaya. Why Upachaya is important? Upachaya meaning growth, increase, right? And so you always want the kingdom to grow, prosper very well, even its boundaries to increase, etc. Right? And also here, Vrishabha satisfied sort few other things. If you see, for it has a benefic Mercury in the Lagna. The 10th house is very important. It is Shuddha. When you don't have any planets, you don't want any planets over there, right? And the eighth house can, planets over here can suddenly end the rain. So eighth house is also quite clear. There is no problem over here. Eighth house has no planets, and eighth house is a benefic Rashi. The eighth lord Jupiter being in the sixth house also creates a kind of Viparita yoga, which is beneficial. Okay. The 10th lord Shani is debilitated. Oh, I am again showing you in the this thing. Let me change the software. Yeah, so that everyone can understand this. So please refer to whichever of the charts you are comfortable with. Now, here the 10th Lord Shani is in Lagna, is in 12th house, in debility. Now you say 10th Lord in debility is a bad thing, it's a Kendra Lord as well. But you see, if it is in Dusthana and debilitated, That itself gives a kind of a Raj Yoga. Okay. So, and this Saturn Jupiter are forming a very, very strong yoga. Okay. So, this is quite good. And Jupiter gives him, kind of a Viparita. He's able to defend himself because of the problems faced by others, by enemies. Okay. Now, there are some problems also with this Muhurta. There is a Papa Kartari on the Lagna due to Shani and Surya. Shani and Surya is called Pitra Dosha. So, due to forefathers, there is a past baggage. What is the past baggage we are talking about here? See, let us understand the situation that Shivaji Maharaj faced, right? Uh, i- During all this time, there were Rajput kings who were regularly crowned, say Rana Pratap, Rana Uday Singh, and all that. No one ever questioned their right to be crowned. Okay, but in case of Maharashtra, for 300 plus years, it was under Islamic rule. The Maratha Sardars, the various Maratha families, warrior families, clans, they were serving the Islamic, the Bahmani Sultanate and its successors like Adil Shah, Nizam Shah, Qutub Shah, etc. They were not kings by their own right. So claim, see, one is to have power. Shivaji Maharaj by that time had acquired enough power, wealth, influence, and everything. But the other thing is what is called legitimacy, right? And that's where one interesting thing is Shivaji Maharaj did not invite any other king to come to his thing. He was primarily focused on the right rituals, and the key people he invited and defeated were the common people and specifically the Brahmanas. Okay, because the Brahmanas give the scriptural sanctity, right? If the rules are properly done and everything is done, yes. In the past also there were people who became king from uh, non-royal backgrounds, and he could also become a king. So he had to be invested with that divine authority, and that is what he did. But there was still past package. People still, did not consider him king for quite some time, right? But so that is a past baggage which had to be fought. But in this case, Saturn is in a way beneficial because it's debilitated. It is supportive. Okay. Um, Now the other thing is there is also the Saturn Mars behind. Another problem is this Rahu in Badhaka Rashi in a very malefic sign of Makara and in Marana Karakasthana. This is a major issue, and this shows problems coming from foreign, from it can be across, and this is a movable sign, so we are talking of across continents. Now, you see, while you may say that this is just the coronation Muhurta of Shivaji Maharaj, you have to understand this is the first Maratha emperor we are talking about. Okay, after 3 centuries, a Hindu king was crowned in Maharashtra, and this was really the start of the Maratha domination supremacy which was going to come. So this Muhurta was not just significant for Shivaji Maharaj and his lifetime, but it was a Muhurta for the Maratha empire in a way. Okay, and we know that after Shivaji Maharaj, there was a long period of instability and danger to the fledgling Maratha kingdom. But then it emerged from that. So, is that being indicated over here? See, this Rahu is indicating a foreign, right? It can be foreign religion, okay? It can be foreigners from across the seas, whatsoever. Initially, just after Shivaji Maharaj's death, what they had to face was Aurangzeb, who came and fought there for 28 long years. Okay. So, as you can see, 28, when you see 27, 28, this kind of thing, uh, it is the it is associated with Saturn. It's an entire Saturn cycle almost. Okay. So from 1680 to almost 1708, when Aurangzeb died, he was constantly in Deccan fighting against the Marathas and a losing battle. So why 28? You can see Saturn is aspecting this Rahu. Okay. Uh, and Saturn is a lord of this sign as well. Okay, so there's a Saturn Rahu yoga in a way. Uh, but the Marathas were able to overcome this because there are inherently some strengths. I mean, you have the fifth Lord Mercury in Lagna. Fifth house is about power and influence. Okay, and the fifth Lord Mercury is in Digbala in Lagna, and Mercury indicates the northern direction. So the Marathas, after the demise of Aurangzeb, and Aurangzeb also came from the north, and by fighting against the Marathas, he destroyed his own empire. So that when once he was gone, the Marathas were much easily able to overtake. You know, the Mughal Empire was basically completely drained out by that time. So Marathas were able to make quick gains, and during the time of Peshwa Bajirao, within a span of 15-20 years, they had conquered Malwa, Gujarat, and even gone up to Delhi itself. Okay, so the north direction becomes favorable because of this for the karma of the Marathas. Okay, so you can see that how this coronation chart is not just talking about Shivaji Maharaj's time himself, but the times to come after him. Okay, now also one other thing is, uh, how long did his reign last? See, Shivaji Maharaj died in the age of 50 in 1680, just about 6 years after this. It doesn't seem to be a long period. And 50 was not, even in those days, it was not necessary that someone had to. 50 was reasonably younger age, one would say, though not very young, but it's still, he could have lived, if all was right, to even 60, 70, whatnot. His father, Shaji Maharaj, um, lived up to what, I believe 65 to 70. He died in 1664, which is, I believe he was born in 1599, so around 65. So, and his mother also lived for a long time. So there was no genetic predisposition that he had to die at 50, but he died. So, and with that, his reign ended. Now, here, if you see, the second house is Maraka, right? Um, and the second house is having, there's no planet in the eighth house. So, we look at the second house. The second house is having a benefic Venus. Venus, and that too in a benefic Rashi of Gemini. Venus should have, and with a good parivartana of Mercury and Venus. This is a lot of Dhana Yoga. So, just after this, Shivaji Maharaj went on a campaign towards the south, and he won a lot of territories. He defeated his own brother, Venkoji, and eventually they compromised and all, but Shivaji Maharaj gained a lot of territories also. Uh, so this Venus is quite strong, but nevertheless, this Venus is very badly afflicted. Why? It is with Sun, it is aspected by Saturn, it is aspected by Mars. Three malefics on Venus, and that is a bit too much. Though Jupiter is aspecting this Venus, but still it's a problem. Venus on its own would have automatically and easily given 20 years. In fact, if it were in own sign, it would have given even much more, maybe even 40 years. But here it's not in own sign, so it will give 20 years, right? It is strong. So 20 years it should have given. But with every malefic, you can divide it. So one malefic would not have mattered, but if two malefics, you have to divide by 2. And if three malefics, you have to divide by 3. So if you divide 20 by 3, you get something like 6 years and some 7 8 months or whatever. And he died just about that. He lived for another uh, exactly 6 years. I think he died in April 1680, which is very close to 6 years from there. So that is an issue over here. However, during this entire period of time, there was great deal of success also. Um, so this is a bit, I believe I have already taken a lot of time, uh, but I hope this was an interesting exercise. Now, I just wanted to say one final thing before I move on. You see, uh, now I'll come to this Wikipedia article, right? It is mentioned, we are talking of today's times. 6 June 1674, it mentions. How can you rely? You know, I have the time and patience to go into all these things because one, I have to get the time right. Without that, I don't get the right Muhurta. If I go with 6 June 1674, I'm gonna get a wrong Muhurta over here. So, and what are the whom have they quoted over here? Um, yeah, here are the this thing. So one is Manu S. Pillai. It's they've quoted from Rebel Sultans, Deccan from Khilji to Shivaji. And then there's another Pradeep Barua, State of Wars. So both these are secondary sources. They would have taken this date from somewhere, where they would have taken from Jede chronology and all these things. Right? Now, here, in fact, it is mentioned in the Hindu calendar, it was 13th day. That mistake which was given in Jede is not repeated over. It is giving the right tithi, 13th day of the first fortnight of the month of Jyeshtha. And who is, what is the thing? This is some archival organization. So this is some another book. Okay. At least that's good that they were able to get. But Manu Espule, he's a very famous historian. I believe I've read a little bit of his excerpts here and there. But he's getting this wrong. If historians are not uh, serious about getting the dates right, I mean, what are they are supposed to quote the right date, isn't it? Maybe they think it doesn't matter that it's 6th or 16th. Why? I don't know. And especially when you have, in today's time, you have softwares available. There is a free version of this software where you can just check whether the tithi etc. is matching or not. And there's Jhora for that matter, which is completely free, a very good software. So anyone can just check it whether these dates are matching or not. Today it is not that tough to cross check, but no one seems to do this cross checking, and no one even wants to mention. And I've seen this with many old dates that it is by default seems to be Julian, though you cannot be sure. And by the way, there is no easy way you can convert Julian to Gregorian. I mean, I've seen just that you okay around 15th 16th century you reduce 10 days from the Gregorian and you get the Julian, something like that. But you don't get the exact converter. So this is one sad story really of our history. And then using this, all the people are celebrating the coronation day of Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, without even bothering to get into the details. I don't know if a single Maratha historian has bothered to do this thing. If they have done, I'm very thankful to them. But I still believe that people are still celebrating. I think officially the government of Maharashtra also recognizes this as 6th June. And the same thing is repeated with the birth date. The birth date of Shivaji Maharaj is mentioned as 19th February, when he was born on 1st March, I believe. That's the date I have, because he was born on Krishna Tritiya in the year 1630. And Krishna Tritiya was not on 19th February. Yeah, 1st March. 1st March, Krishna Tritiya, Shukravara. He was born on Shukravara. He was coronated also on Shukravara. Very interesting. And you can see also that how nice a Muhurta Gagabhat ji has chosen. His Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's uh, Janma Nakshatra is Chitra. And they had selected Anuradha as the this thing. Anuradha is the fourth. Chitra, Swati, Vishakha, Anuradha. Fourth nakshatra, which is Kshema. And the four is associated with sitting, asana, etc. So throne. Okay, so they selected a very good one. And Kshema means lot of good things, beneficial things, auspiciousness, etc. Okay. So, very good Muhurta chosen, and this confirms, as I said, also the whatever details I have of Shivaji Maharaj as his horoscope. Okay, so thank you so much. It's been almost an hour, and I hope you found this interesting. Please do share your comments, and if anyone can translate the Sanskrit given by Gagabhat if they can find especially any details of the exact muhurta that he had chosen in that Sanskrit text, it would be very nice. Yeah, they can share it with me. Thank you so much. Namaste. Bye for now. And yes, I forgot the most important thing. Today is what day? 16th June. That's why I said it's serendipity. And I believe Shivaji Maharaj has some kind of anugraha on me. Okay, I found the birth date details, his horoscope birth details with exact time and all that just by chance. And this yesterday, I was just going through something and just by chance I found it. I feel that he wants me to share these things so that people don't make the mistake of celebrating his birthday, his coronation day on the wrong dates. And I'm not saying it should be celebrated on 16 June also. No, please celebrate it on Shukla Trayodashi in the month of Jeshta. That would be the right thing to do. Okay. Similarly, please celebrate his birth on Krishna Tritiya in the month of Falguna when he was born. Okay. That is the correct way of Indians celebrating the birthdays or whatever occasions of their ancestors. Thank you so much. Bye for now.